So my first question would be about Zweifacher Traum. It's a creation. How would you describe the piece?
Well, this piece has rather unusual story behind it because originally I was commissioned to write a transcription of Mozart's concerto for harp and flute and make it for violin and piano, which of course sounds very simple, but from the beginning I had this premonition that it will not be simple at all, actually quite challenging, and it will be something completely different because I felt I used to play flute for many years, and I played that concerto, and I also played another work of Mozart, Andante, for flute and strings, and I always felt the two pieces were connected. So I did more research, and I realized they were indeed written in the same year, and what makes it even more interesting that this was perhaps one of the worst years of Mozart's life. That's when he was in Paris, his mother dies, he's broke, everything that can go wrong goes wrong, and in the middle of this disastrous year he writes these two pieces which are so full of light, full of life, full of C major, as if he wished to manifest this incredible dream and incredible glimpse of perfection, which was complete opposite what was going on in his life. So both works are very dreamy in some way, and I felt they were connected, and I wanted to create a special form where in a way concerto fits within the Andante, so the entire structure is rethought. And also I wanted to create a look at this music and at Mozart's that year, but from our time. So it's a dialogue between centuries, it's a dialogue between composers, it's a dialogue with two performers, two times, and also of two styles, because there are material that it sounds like Mozart, but it's actually mine, and vice versa. So I wanted to create this dream of a dream.
It's your point of view about this music, how you interact with it.
It's a look from 21st century into that time of Mozart, and with the understanding of this light and darkness blend and this glimpse of C major in a way. This, I think, how Mozart was dealing with some of the most tragic events in his life by actually manifesting something totally different, which is extraordinary, which is really extraordinary, and it also connects in a beautiful way to other pieces in our program, because the program becomes a theme of life and death, and in each piece it's a different approach to how do we deal with life and death, how they're connected, how death defines life.
What is your relationship with the repertoire of the past?
I love playing standard repertoire, and being composer myself, I look at the score perhaps with somewhat different eyes. So my interpretations tend to be rather different. So in fact, for the Mozart's piano concerto, I prepared my own set of parts. And I tend to do it with any repertoire that I play and perform as a pianist or as a conductor. So, and that's what makes for me music alive and exciting, and creates an interpretation that is organic also between the orchestra and pianist. This is why I love conducting from the piano, because often enough, if you have another conductor, you have two different interpretations going on, because you have two different visions, and hopefully they meet somewhere in the middle, and it's a happy compromise. But it's also very exciting when you can really build your own interpretation and have it completely shared with the orchestra. The ending of the cadenza is Mozart, and he does something absolutely extraordinary and completely revolutionary for his time, because he introduces the theme of the last movement and then ends it without resolving it in the diminished chord, and then writes one bar of silence. So, which is unthinkable. Absolutely, it's like real cry. And then there is this bar of silence. It is as if he suddenly looks around and suddenly remembers himself. Well, he was not supposed to be so personal. He's supposed to be here to entertain people. The people came to have a good time. He was commissioned to, to be entertainer at the time. And he puts on this total mask. It's like comedy mask that he puts on of kind of false smile. And all of a sudden he ends concerto in the craziest D major, which has nothing to do with anything that was before, as if saying, well, you wanted to have a good time? Here is good time for you, party. But it's in a way, it's one of the most theatrical, incredible works of conceptual art, actually.